gentlemen, we're live. Me and Dr. V. There he is. Cute guy, isn't he? Got on earlier today. We got to talk. I don't get to do that too often with him. He's always trying to get his hair in shape and do his eyebrows and they get the beard all nice and whatever. That's
Yes,
Dr.
I didn't do that today.
He's looking, hey, you're looking good. So that's what's happening. We hope everybody else is happening. You know, we're going to be talking today. Let's remember, we are an opinion group. We're an opinion show. We try to entertain also while we're an opinion show. We are backed up by facts and we lay it out there. And please feel free to tell us whatever you want to say or give us your ideas and thoughts in the mosh pit. We're here today. The first thing to talk about is ICE our friend or are they shock troops? Real big question. And it's in Minneapolis. And I just think it's a major issue and it's something we got to talk about. I remember growing up, Joe. I don't know if you remember. We were always taught the policeman is your friend. Remember growing up? They would get books. The policeman is your friend. It'd always be in the book. You're in trouble. You're lost. Go to the policeman. The policeman will always be your friend. Remember we heard that? Can you say that about ICE? Let's start looking at this. We have had over 13, I believe, gun-related 13 gun-related incidents with ICE so far around the country. ICE says that they're running around and that they're being doxxed and they're taking down all these people, but they will not give us specific numbers. ICE went into Minneapolis. The idea was, at least from my understanding, was to root out fraud. They're all talking about the issues with the Somalians, the Americans who come from Somalia, and say there's fraud and all this. That's why they sent ICE in. I don't see the ICE guys doing any fraud work, but that's what they're supposed to do. They're sending in ICE to do what then? To help us? To help people? Why won't ICE tell us the exact numbers and the breakdown of who they're taking out, why they're illegal or not illegal, and how they're dealing with it? Why won't they tell us that? Why do they only show us one or two? And this is what makes it so hard to determine whether or not you could call ICE your friend. Kristi Noem, who's the Homeland Security Secretary, said when Miss Good was killed that the ICE car was stuck on snow because of the inclement weather, the bad weather in Minnesota, however she called it, and he was being besieged. That was their story, and they had to defend themselves and kill this woman. That was their story. Now, if you're really a good guy and you're really doing what's legal and you're really trying to do the right thing, why do you have to lie about it? Why do you have to come in and make lies? Why the cover-up, the continual cover-up? And I'm going to throw this out, Joe, and I'm not a psychiatrist, and I don't know this guy, but you're going to tell me if I'm right or wrong here. They made a big point on Fox and all over X to say that the agent who shot and killed Miss Good had been prior involved in another incident, and he ended up getting pulled by a car, and he had a whole bunch of stitches and stuff. Tell me if I'm wrong. If this guy is suffering from PTSD, and he can fall back on, wow, I got pulled under a car, and that's my reason to shoot somebody, he shouldn't be on the street, should he? Now, I know you don't know everything on this, but I would think, and I'm just a layman, the guy would be under care of a psychiatrist. They'd be talking to him. They'd be making sure he's okay, that he wouldn't be pulling a gun and just shooting somebody because his first thought is he could be pulled down the street. He should be off the street without a gun, shouldn't he? I mean, I know you don't know him personally. I know, and I don't, of course, either, but we're just talking generally here. Why was a guy who's heavy PTSD, and that's what it is. If you read X, I read X like crazy. I love X. If you read X and you watch them on TV, that's their defense. That's their motto. Wow, he got pulled down the street, and it's all state of mind. And he really thought he was going to get killed. Well, if that's his state of mind, what's he doing on the streets with a gun and a mask? And then before you give me that answer, I want to throw this in too. What does it say about a guy who, after he shoots somebody in the head, slowly walks down to the car, looks at it, turns around and comes back, and doesn't allow a doctor to go in and look at the woman and try to treat her. Now, that's not ICE overall. I'm just asking you this specific question. Am I in left field with this, Joe? Does this guy belong on the street, or does he belong under analysis or therapy so to be helped as a person who I can understand why he would have PTSD, but why is he on the street with the gun shooting people? Throw it out to me.
Well, again, I don't know the particulars of this case, but in general, people exposed to trauma often develop, as you say, symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. And part of that is that people relive the traumatic event. I remember when I treated veterans from Vietnam, when they came back to the States.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Sure. Oh, yeah. And they would hear helicopters overhead, and immediately they felt that they were back in Vietnam.
Wow.
And so it would trigger that kind of reaction. So it's very plausible that this poor fella did develop PTSD symptoms from his traumatic event, his pretty traumatic event. And so when he was back in that situation, he responded as if the original situation was at hand. So that's a very plausible explanation. Now, the question is, the people in charge, if they recognize that he had this problem, why didn't they treat him for it, or at very least get him out of a situation where he's likely to be exposed to this kind of traumatic event, which is not pleasant for him and can have really unfortunate consequences for other people. So I think that's, again, when it happened, it had just happened when we went on the show on Wednesday. And I said, this is a time for us not to rush to judgment, but to collect all the facts, look at things from a clear-headed perspective, to understand the perspective of the officer, to understand the perspective of the people in the situation, and including the woman who apparently she seemed to panic and try to hightail it out of there. It clearly looks like she was trying to escape, not trying to run into officers. And, and people will question, why didn't she just obey what the officer was saying? It looked like she panicked. And so when you look at it through that lens, it becomes more understandable. But that's not what people are doing. Everybody's looking at it through their own personal prism, and they're trying to find some cause for why their position is correct. And I'm afraid that's not the right way to look at it.
But let me ask you this, Joe.
Let me answer your second question first, and then we'll get back into it.
Go ahead.
Your second question is, here is a physician, and I saw the video, who said, she's injured, let me go over and try to help.
Right.
And that's part of the Hippocratic oath that we have, that if we see someone sick, in danger, we have a moral responsibility as physicians to try to get in there and to help them. And there's even laws to help protect doctors against malpractice in that kind of situation if you're doing the best you can. So we want that in society. If you're having a heart attack or whatever, and there's a doctor around who can help you, we want the doctor to feel free to go over there and intervene. The rationale for not letting that particular doctor in that situation is that a person who announces themselves as a doctor, the ICE agent may say, look, we don't know if you're a real doctor. Maybe you're going over to create more mischief. And theoretically, they're supposed to have personnel around who can come in and give immediate attention. And so if there was immediate attention that was going to be available from ICE authorized healthcare professionals, and that made sense.
Took 15 minutes. Minutes.
So again, that's disturbing to me that it took 15 minutes for some health personnel to come to the scene. And in that case, you might break the rule and say, I'm not sure if you're a doctor or not, but this is an emergency situation. We have to take that chance. That would have been the prudent thing to do. And so it sounds like there is so many different things where people bent the law, broke the law or whatever, or didn't follow the usual protocol. And I strongly believe we need to have transparency to investigate the situation. And I guess what I'm most concerned about is we may not have that transparency. Let me throw it back to you.
Thank you. Well, let me tell you, let's get back to our original question, which is ICE your friend, or is ICE stormtroopers? Well, if they're not being trained if you're leaving them on the street with PTSD, if leadership, it's really leadership. If leadership is going to lie and leadership's going to sit there and say, well, they were stuck on an ice mound or snow and all these kind of problems and lie to everyone about it, how do the ICE agents even have a chance to be considered friends? I know that if I was sitting in a car and some dude came running up to me in a mask and started trying to open my door, I'd be scared like crazy too. I'm not sure what I'd do. If there's no ID, if there's nothing, I don't know if I'd hit the gas and take off. And it's how you look at the tape, but to me, the video is pretty obvious. That guy pulled out his gun before the person hit the gas. He was ready to shoot, and when she passed him, he shot 2 more shots into the car. So you have that attitude, and then you have him calling her a dumb bitch, I believe is what he called her, right? And then they would not allow the doctor to come in. And I know you mischief, this, that, and the other. They didn't say, hey, are you a doctor? Let me see proof or anything. You could do mischief. They just said, no, you can't go there. They could have asked him for proof. A doctor can show proof. Joe, you could prove you're a doctor. You'd have no problem proving you're a doctor, right? I'd have no problem proving I'm a lawyer. It isn't that hard. So they could have asked for proof, and they could have gone in at that point and said, okay, go check them out. That's what a friend does. That's what a friend does. That's what a friend should do, not a stormtrooper. It makes one start to wonder if the whole focus here is just to make a point to just beat on people, kill people, and just say, hey, we'll lie about it. And it goes back to our 1984 Orwellian talk about the lie from the Ministry of Information all the way down, where they don't want to tell the truth. It gets back to Devo. Devolution. That's where we are in a great album, our favorite album of the year. Are We Not Men? We Are Devo. And we're going backwards. You call it the DUNBO doctrine as the example. As you saw in our description, we call it the DUMBO doctrine. But you look at this and you say, we got a real problem. And how can people be expected to trust ICE? How can people be expected to trust any of these agents if all they're going to do is be rushed by guys in masks and guns who have no other reason to deal? I'm sorry, we're not even trying to deal with you. I'm sure some of these people are okay, but I got to assume they are stormtroopers. They are told, go in, lock people up, and get them out of here. And we can't get numbers on how many have really been sent out, who they are, how many have sent out their kids who are American citizens with the families. If the families left and they had to take their kids with them and they're American citizens, how are those kids ever going to be able to prove they're American citizens when they want to come back in? But the thought, and let me tell you this, in Maryland, we just had another one where a person in custody was shot and died in ICE custody, and ICE blamed everybody and everything, and suddenly the report has changed. Okay. And suddenly it's obvious because the videos and everybody knew it was obvious that the way they had this guy set up, he was going to get shot and die. That's what it was going to be. It's just that simple. And now they're sending in another 200, 300 or another 1,000 troops in there. Let me ask you this also when you think about it. How is there really an investigation? When the vice president of the United States comes out and says she is a left-wing, paid, whatever, lunatic. Trump comes out and says she is a left-wing paid lunatic. You got Kristi Noem lying, just pouring lies out of her mouth about what's going on and what happened. How can you assume that you're going to have a real investigation? They're not allowing Minnesota to be a part of the investigation. They're just saying Kash Patel, and I assume our great attorney general, I'm watching what I say, Joe, I'm trying to be very cool here, and we're going to look at it objectively. There's no way, because they have been told to say that it was a takeout, that it had to be, and the person was horrible. And think about it. Did you see that lady? She's sitting there going, hi, I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you at all. Now think about it. This guy who shot her was taking a video with his phone, cruising around. She's going, hey, how are you? How are you? Nice talking to you. I'm not mad at you. I'm here. And then he goes to the other side, and her wife mouthed him. Big deal. cops get mouthed all the time. Mouthed them, okay? And then there we have, and then suddenly he could pull a gun and shoot him. He had plenty of time to think. He had plenty of time to do what he wanted. This is what these guys are taught. We're hearing, I'm reading in the papers, the Journal, the Times, the Post. Oh, it's a training issue. No, it isn't. They're not training them. They're giving them, what, 50 grand? They don't care how hard you are. Dean Cain, the TV guy, is out there with a gun probably somewhere. I think he signed up. It doesn't matter.
This guy may have actually been trained, though. I think he had been an ICE agent for a while. But
I agree. But
that's right. There are many people who are not trained.
You're totally correct. But that's why I opened it up, Joe, with the question to you of trained or not trained. If he had PTSD, okay, he had a problem. Right. That was my whole issue. I didn't come in and say he wasn't trained. I came to you and said, what do you think? It looks like he had PTSD. He'd been dragged by a car. He had all these stitches. He was nervous. And the people said he's nervous. And that's why he pulls out a car. That training didn't stop that killing. The training did nothing. That man apparently needs peers therapy or something. We talked about, we're going to do the other thing. But these people aren't training the other people. They're just paying them and pumping them out because they need them on the streets to hit the numbers they want. Listen to Stephen Miller, power, power, power. And he talks power to the rest of the world, but he's talking power about America and how America has to be taken over. My feeling is, I haven't been looking at the mosh pit, Joe. I'm going to ask you what it's been saying.
A lot of good stuff in the mosh pit.
I'm sure. My feeling is, I'm going to say it, and then we're going to go to the mosh pit, but I want Joe to throw some ideas or questions out to me that I can answer for the mosh pit is, no, they're not your friend. You can't trust somebody, unless it's the Lone Ranger, I say it all the time, or Zorro. You can't trust somebody coming up to you with a mask, no badge, no nothing, trying to yank your door open and saying, get out of the car. You got no idea who he or she is. No idea whatsoever. Are they friend? No. They are stormtroopers. They are outright stormtroopers until the people at the top teach them not to be stormtroopers. So I blame the leadership. They're bringing in people and saying, essentially be stormtroopers. Listen to what's Miller. So I really can't blame the agents as much. It's the DOP, but the agents are just what's going on. It's just, they're manhandling people. It's vicious and you can't trust them. And I'm convinced that this is what Trump and Vance want, because they want people to start shooting at the ICE people or the Border Patrol or whatever they are, so they can say, we have a problem here, and then send in the troops, a quick strike force that he's been putting together with his Secretary of War. Joe, what are they saying in the mosh pit?
Well, there's a lot of debate in the mosh pit that, number one, she shouldn't have been there. It's her fault. It's Biden's fault for letting in all these illegal folks, and so they have to come in and clean up house, things like that. And then there's a lot of opposing position that says, look at the darned video. It's pretty obvious. He was trying to get away, and he flipped out and shot her in cold blood. So I think those are the two prevailing opinions. And I would say we need to take a step back and understand what we're trying to accomplish here. Is the goal to reestablish security at the border and do our best to get rid of criminals and people doing illegal stuff who are here illegally? Or is the goal to set up some sort of national police force that can intimidate people and quell good, honest debate, discussion, freedom? If it's the former, we're not doing a very good job of it. I mean, again, I'm not a police officer, but I'm a doctor. And when the treatment kills more people than the disease, there's something wrong. And so far, if you add it up, there have been more citizens killed by ICE over the past several months than there have been immigrants killing U.S. citizens. And if you look at the cost of this treatment, what it's doing to our society, what it's doing to people's enjoyment in life, you have to ask, what's the benefit from it? And if it's not serving the benefit, then you have to reassess what you're doing and come up with a different plan that serves your purposes. Now, if it's the second purpose, to try to intimidate citizens, so that the next time a young woman with 3 kids has some idea of blocking ICE, if that's the goal, well, then it probably succeeded. I can imagine people might say, I'm not going to put myself in harm's way. I could get shot and killed. But is that the kind of society that we want, where people are not allowed to express their voice? Not people feel intimidated about presenting their opinion. I don't think that's the kind of country we really want. And if that's the case, we have to make our leaders know that, so that there's going to be a clear investigation of this from people who are not biased. The federal government has already established that they are biased. At the very least, we need to have some sort of independent entity come in and help the federal government assess the situation and see exactly what happened. The goal is not to have a preformed opinion to say ICE needs to go, not to have a preformed opinion to say this guy shot someone in cold blood without understanding their perspective, but to do a good, fair evaluation of what happened here, what went wrong, and how we can prevent it from
It
happening.
isn't going to happen, Joe. Quit talking about it. There's no way. It's already been set up. The guy's off. He's called, hey, you're off. It doesn't matter. There's no investigation. It's over. They're not allowing Minnesota in it isn't. I've been looking at the mosh pit, Joe, and I've been looking at these people. And I keep saying, well, let me tell you something, guys. Those of you who are yelling and screaming, yes, she should not have tried to run. She got nervous. The guy, though, shouldn't have tried to open the door. And the Justice Department regs, I hear all these guys saying, yeah, the guy had every right to shoot her and she should have stopped. The Justice Department regs are clear. They were reading them on TV the other night, that you're supposed to try not to kill, that you're supposed to not stand in front of a car, and you're supposed to then step away and then watch the license plate, and you can go after the car in the license plate. That's what it said. So this ICE agent, who appears to have PTSD, because that's the excuse basically given by the right on why he shot her and why he had the right to shoot her. This guy should have just walked away, let her go, written down the license number, and called ahead. They would have taken her down. That would have been it. Keep this in mind, too. These people are going crazy over this woman who sat there. You did not look at the tape. If you saw her saying to him, I love you, you're nice, I'm not mad or anything, what you're totally missing is that car went flying down the road. It could have hit somebody. How about if other people were in cars? They could have had real accidents. How about if the car went off onto a neighbor's lawn and ran over some kids? How about if those three shots, how about if those two other shots hit kids, hit other people, hit innocent people sitting there? We would have had a real problem. And I'll tell you this, Joe, I'm very disappointed in a lot of the mosh pit, because when we talk facts, we saw the videos, everybody's seen the video, but these people are saying, well, you're out of it. You're a liar. You're this, you're a retard, you're this. Hey, guys, let's wake up. You want to talk facts? Let's talk facts. We're talking facts, Joe and I.
Bring the receipts. If you have an opinion, try to bring the data that supports what you say.
Right, but don't call.
We see evidence. She was not trying to run over cops.
Yeah, but my point isn't that. My point is, Joe, there's no need to just say, hey, you're this, you're that, and call people names and start running back and forth on this. It doesn't make sense. You're going nowhere with it. You should be saying, hey, this happened, and as a result, I conclude this. But when you call other people names, they're not going to listen to you. They're just going to call you names back. It doesn't make sense. We're trying to talk about stuff. We're talking about what we saw. It's all over the place. So remember, if he got hit at all, he sure was able to walk all the way down to the car, and he was able to walk all the way back and have no problems. So he may have been, I don't know. And what was he doing in front of the car? So he violated his own regulations. Then he walks down and walks back, no problems, not limping, not hitting the ground going, oh, my leg, nothing, zero. You have to, what are you going to, your lying eyes don't let you see it. That's it. And the bottom line is she turned back up. No, she didn't. He got in front of the vehicle. Everybody who said she didn't get him in front, he stood in front of the vehicle. They've got shots from the right. They got shots from up top, around. He got in front of the vehicle, and that was his decision. I don't need my glasses checked. I don't need to be Mike Lindell, which I'm not, because I'm sure he took a different side. But yeah, we're boomers. Yeah, we've been around. Yeah, we've seen it. But very simple. You don't put people, and you don't get with a gun, get in front of a car and start blasting people away. And that ICE guy who went up, why is he yanking the door open? He should have gone up to her and said, get out of the car. But you're getting out. I didn't see a badge on that guy. Maybe he had one, the one trying to open the door. All I saw was a mask. Why are these guys always wearing masks? Our friends here on the right who want to defend them. Why are they always Mr. Biggles? Did you see him have any ID? Did you see him pull up the badge and say, police officer, out of the car? I didn't see that. So who knows? That's what's going on. People get nervous. They take off. They took off. And this guy had no business being in front of her, especially when he went through a whole issue himself 5-6 months ago, and it did not appear to be over it because Vance and the others are using that prior situation he had when he was pulled the car as his excuse for thinking, oh, maybe I got to shoot this woman. The same woman that he took a video of, who said, I'm not mad at you. I like you. You're okay. It's not a problem. They should not just be pulling guns and shooting. Cops don't do it. They're not supposed to do it. We know who the cops are. They wear a uniform. You see their face. You see their badge. This is the way it is. It's not a matter of stupid. What it's turned into here is it's a national police force. If you remember, Joe, I said back when Trump and they pushed this big, beautiful bill and they put billions and billions into this, I called it then Trump's personal national police force. And that's what it's becoming. How is he rooting out fraud if he's just shooting people on the streets? How is he rooting out fraud if he's throwing people out? And you mentioned, hey, it's, who knows who's illegal? Really, your definition is what illegals are you going for? And what is your definition of illegal? Is your definition of illegal a person who's raised 3 children, who are Marines in the United States Marine Corps and have a job? That's either going to throw them out and lock them up and put their and handcuff them and everything? It's just there's a limit. And then why won't ICE be open and honest? When cops get shot, or they shoot somebody, there's always a full investigation that comes out. Everybody sees anything. Why is Trump so afraid? Why is Vance so afraid? Why the cover-up? They've really turned into the cover-up group, Joe. Think about it. They cover it up, the double tap. They cover up Epstein. They only have 1% of the Epstein's files out. Total cover-up after Bondi said, the attorney general, she had it all on her desk. Total cover-up. But you get to this. This is becoming a cover-up. This is a fact. Call me all the names you want. That's life. Sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. It doesn't. It doesn't matter. You're what you call people. The bottom line is this. We have guys, Americans shooting Americans. We have Americans shooting Americans. We have a guy at the top who is saying, go after him, and if you got to use a gun, shoot him and kill him. He thinks Americans are like the Venezuelans. He thinks Americans are like the Iranians. They're not. We are Americans. Boo-hoo, Robert Scott Williams. If it was your sister or your mother or your daughter, you'd be boo-hooing pretty bad, okay? And you want to talk about the child care fraud cover-up? This isn't getting rid of the child care fraud cover-up. That's the fact. It ain't happening. You want to send in people, right? Obey Trump. Perfect. I'm not obeying Trump. Wrong. Somebody talk about Justified. Great TV show. That's the entertainment part of what we talk about. You should always stream. You should binge Justified. It was great over a whole lot of years. But it's just, this is where are we going next with it? I'm telling you, Trump wants the great dish uniter. I keep threatening to put this thumbnail out. I love my thumbnail. I haven't put it out. He keeps talking about do this, do this, do this, do this, to keep him in power, to keep his money in his pocket, to put more money in his pocket, and to be able to go. And we sit here and allow ourselves to fight with one another so that the top guys can get away with everything.
I have to just say something, and I'll let you get back. There's a comment in there about your religious affiliation that makes no, yes. That's not called for in a chat. If we see stuff like Muslim? That, we're going to block you.
Did they call me Muslim? Did they call me Muslim? What did they call me?
Something like that.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But so, no, if I see personal attacks in there, you're going to be blocked in the chat. If you
Go
have
for
an
it, Joe.
opinion, fine. If you back it up with facts, better, but no name calling in the chat.
It's not necessary.
This is not how we're going to run this live stream. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mark.
I'm happy you get mad because we have death
That's
here.
what gets me mad.
Right. And you have every reason to be mad, Joe, because we have a death of murder. I mean, murder. It's a killing of an American. And we have no real investigation or anything. And people just want to start calling this, call you that. Everybody calling each other. Forget it. It doesn't get you anywhere and it doesn't matter. By the way, Spartacus, you're having an issue in there. I see you running around right on Spart and right on the people we know. I love you. But the bottom line is, come on and lay it on us. If you can't lay it on us, then don't. You got nothing to lay on us. So if you think that I'm waiting to see answers, Joe. I don't know if you saw the answers. If you think that that they're not shock troops, tell us why they're our friends. If you think that they are shock troops, tell us why you think they're shock troops. There it is. It's just a lot of noise going back and forth. But I'll tell you, we sure do have a lot of people talking in the mosh pit, Joe. It's getting crazy. And what's happening is everybody's going at it with each other. Everybody's going at it. And those who want to talk about my religious affiliation, let's make sure we understand one thing. I'm an American. I'm an American. My title on my YouTube is just an American citizen. It has been for 10 or 12 or 13 years. It doesn't matter what my religion is or what anybody else's religion is. It doesn't matter if I'm left, right, east, west, green, red, or yellow. It doesn't matter. All that matters is a person, what they think, and they go. You want to keep going, bro, go to Iran. Here we go. We're going to get into Iran pretty soon. Hang in on Iran, guys. We're coming to it. I'm not going there. Why would I want to go there? They threw out everybody who doesn't agree with them anyhow over there. So that's where we are. Joe, I'm thinking.
Now that's a good comment. Mark making age poorly.
Making what poorly?
Mark making age poorly. Now that one's funny. You can do that.
What can I tell you? I'm getting old.
I don't know which one you're referring to, but
come on. What
that's
can I
all
say?
right.
Both of us. We both have been cruising all around the sun all these years. It doesn't matter. So we're about to go into Iran and into our foreign policy. But I want to just close up this issue here, Joe, where I believe that ICE is doing a horrible job. And I say ICE, I mean Border Patrol, all of it. I'll get back to that. Let me just take a step back. Trump has done a great job on the border. He shut the border down. Nobody's coming in. But what they're doing here is they're just taking out Americans. They don't care. They're shooting and they're lying and they're not thinking before they shoot. They're lying, they're shooting, and they're going forward. So the ICE are shock troops. They are not your friend. You can't trust them. You just can't. I trust my policemen, though. I trust my local policemen because I know my local policemen and I know they live here and they care and they're a part of it. That's what the difference is. No, ICE is not here to protect Americans from illegals. It isn't. They're not deporting. Let's see the numbers, guys. Holman, the head, Tom Homan, refuses to give numbers. I watch News Nation and what's his name? Chris, whatever. He keeps asking Homan, let me see the numbers. Break it down. ICE can't give you numbers because the Ministry of Information from 1984, which is the Trump administration, is just taking the truth, strangling it, and sending it down. I'm about to go into Iran. Joe, you have anything else to say before we blow into Iran?
Just to reiterate that you can be for border security and still believe in morality and decency. And if the treatment is worse than the disease, you better reassess your treatment.
Right on, Joe. And those of you who say I hate ICE, I don't hate ICE. I love Americans. But I don't like people who pick up guns and just shoot other Americans because they just feel like it and then lie about what happened. And that's what's horrible, okay? That's the bottom line. Let's get to Iran. Okay, where we are, everybody sees there's major revolution going, where major demonstrations, not revolution per se. Understand what's going on in Iran? It's a water issue, Joe. They've run out of water. They have no idea where to get their water, not just droughts. They took water, they put it into certain areas. And it didn't work. They tried to have farmland and stuff. They ran out of water. They got no water. The real, which is their dollar, is worthless. They're offering them $7 each to come out and help people out. And the people are protesting. And if the people are protesting, are getting killed because the Iranian government just kills people and doesn't care. But here we go into the is this the DUMBO doctrine? Going into Iran, understand what's happening. The president said he's going to take them out. He's going to, whatever words he's going to kill them. He's going to do this and that. Is this the DUMBO doctrine or is this the DUMBO doctrine? And that's where we're coming down to. How many wars are we going to get involved in? How many countries are we going to try to topple governments? How many nations are we going to try to take over? And why has he been able to do it so well? This is what people miss. If you've been looking at Just an American Citizen, please go on there. Please subscribe. Please check it out. We have a whole bunch of stuff at the end of the American century. The world was set up in such a way that there was a lot of jive in there, rules-based. Trump has come in and thrown out the rules. When you're the first guy and you're the most powerful country or right up there, and you just throw out the rules, you can get away with anything. And he's getting away with anything. He's getting away with Venezuela. I'm not saying right or wrong. Maduro was dirt. You all know, if you look at my August 2017 videos on Maduro, horrible. I hit it head on there well before everybody was talking about Maduro. But we're sitting here and going, if he could just shake up Venezuela, and it's going to take years, they say, to get the oil out of there. And what's he going to do in Iran? Take out the old man, Khamenei, who's even older than Trump? Is he then going to, who else is he going to hit? Where's he going to go with it? When you shake up the international order like this, you're leaving the problems for everybody else. Because when Trump's gone in 2 years, he won't be there to deal with 3 years. He won't be there to deal with Venezuela. He won't be there to deal with the mess that he's making in the rest of the world. It's just absolutely crazy. So how does this fit into the DUMBO doctrine if you're going to start bombing Iran? Yet I understand Iran's horrible. They kill people. They destroy people. They've destroyed their own country. I'm with it, but we have to bomb them. Why don't we just hit them with cyber? Why don't we just do a whole bunch of stuff like that? Why don't we just get in stuff from Elon Musk so they can start talking to each other again when Iran shuts, which is Starlink. So when Iran starts shutting things down, they can't shut that down. That's the kind of stuff to do. But we're going to put our people in harm's way. He's probably going to tell Israel to do it, and then he'll follow up afterwards. It's just getting so crazy. Let's even go further. Let's go to Greenland. Greenland's NATO, Joe. Denmark's NATO. What are we doing coming in, wanting to attack supposed allies? As I said, Joe will tell you, I've been yelling about it for years. We have no allies anymore. We have no friends. They can't trust us. America has just become this little island, this big island, and trying to move out. And I think it's like the, Manifest Destiny? Those of you who never took history, when we took the West, it was called Manifest Destiny. Remember, Joe? It was our manifest destiny to own the entire continent. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. We sure made sure it was going to be. So it was, and it worked out eventually. But what are we going to do now when we're dealing with Venezuela in 3 years and we have our troops there protecting the oil, and we're over? What are we doing in Iran? And what are we doing in the Middle East? And what are we doing? We have no Western friends out of Western Europe, and we sit here with the DUMBO doctrine. And I'm going to keep calling it. DUMBO was an elephant who had a lot more on the ball than our president when it came to this. Anybody can shake things up. It's making sure it comes back together and it's in a coherent way. It's just not good. Joe, that's where I am on that. Joe, what do you say?
I mean, just in general, the principle is you lead by example, not by force. Force, we've tried that many times, and it just doesn't work in the long term. But what kind of example are we giving the freedom protesters in Iran by attacking and killing people who are expressing their right to protest in this country with ICE officers who go around shooting you? You know, it just, how can we show an example of what alternatives to these kinds of dictatorships can be?
We used to. We don't anymore because we have a president who wants to mimic them, Joe. That's the problem. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're exactly right. This is the cost of attacking people because they disagree with you, and it's not just ICE. You see it throughout this administration that if you disagree with the guy, his skin is so thin that he has to go after you. And what kind of example is that? It's for me, it's not an example of weakness. I know there's a lot of bros out there that look at Trump and say, "Now there's a tough guy. He's not like that weak Waltz. He's not like those weak Democrats who bring a casserole to a gunfight." But I can tell
Waltz
you,
is unimpressive, Joe. I'm sorry.
I
Waltz
know,
is
I know,
unimpressive.
I know, I know, and I'm not here to
supporter.
defend the Democrats
Go ahead.
either.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
This is not about defending the Democrats either.
Okay.
It's we have gone around this planet several times now, and I can tell you strength is not measured by controlling people through threat and violence. Strength is really measured by the example that you set. You're a father, I'm a father. When you hear Stephen Miller talk about there is no international law, the only law is the rule of the jungle. If you can do it and get away with it, it's correct thing to do. It's not the correct thing to do. Humans are wired to take care of people who are bent, who need help. You don't break bent people. You try and put them together. You try to help them grow. That's what a father does. When a father goes out hunting, he doesn't eat the whole kill himself. He shares it with his family so his family can grow because they're not in a position to do the hunting themselves. That's what a man is. That's what power is.
And if I may, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, and for a woman who sacrifices many things for her family, that's what being a good woman is about. And that's what humans are about. That's what made our society grow and prosper, is that people would take care of each other. American citizen, a citizen implies a shared responsibility to help each other. And we're losing citizenship right now. That I think the current administration has a bias to try and create enemies of us. And today is a perfect example, if you look at the mosh pit, of people just attacking each other and instead of trying to understand each other. And
meanwhile, Joe, real quickly, Guillermo, I see you. I'm saying hi to you from me and Joe. Go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so
Guillermo,
that's all I was going to say, that we seem to be losing a sense of kindness for each other. And that's not what America is. That's not the principles that we are founded on. And that's the thing I'm most concerned about right now.
For good reason, Joe. Remember, I hear international law. Everybody always bends. What's international law? What's that? I'm more worried about rule of law in America. We have a real problem with rule of law in America. We have a president who doesn't care about the rule of law and doesn't care about just sending out. It's the power in the country. When you hear Miller and these guys talk about power and this, and we're going to take you down, and we're going to do this, they're talking about here in the country. They use the foreign affairs as their cover to do it, but it's the same thing here. And it comes back. I'm sorry. What good is it going to do us? It's not helping us. We're not going anywhere. Like I said, no friends. We already have a deal with Greenland. Greenland, we can put any base we want on Greenland. We already have a space base on Greenland, the Space Force. What's the issue? You got to go in and prove you're the man? You got an 80-year-old guy who's totally out of it, who feels that power is all that matters. Remember, he didn't just say morals is what I think is morals until it's my morals. He doesn't have morals. He said that the other day. It's my morals, he says. It's all my morals. His morals is take oil, take this, take that. I'm going to throw this in quickly. I've been saying it. Going for this oil is so dumb. It's so dumb. It's beyond dumb. Solar energy is the answer. It's all coming from the sun. It's all that coming down. The Chinese are going to be so far in front of us. We're going to be sitting there stuck taking this oil out. We're not going to be able to go anywhere with it. And the Chinese are going to be able to control the power from the sun. The Chinese are going to have it in batteries. They're going to be able to walk around with it. You may even have what they like on Star Trek with lasers and stuff. Who knows? They're going to be so far in front of us because we are so busy fighting with one another. We are so busy having an administration that lets those who carry guns on their behalf shoot people and don't care and lie about it. instead of worrying about defending America and looking to the future and making sure we're ready. This world, what good's oil going to do, Joe? We got plenty of oil. We got so much oil, we don't know what to do with it. Okay, we got plenty of natural gas. It's not an issue. But if you can't control the sun and you're going to allow our major rival to control the sun power, the solar power, it makes no sense. It ain't TDS. It's not this. It's not that. It's the truth. And those who are afraid of being able to look at what it does, without the sun, there'd be no earth. Okay? You know, so maybe we should be president. Maybe things would be perfect then. Joe, one person asked that question. Maybe we should be president. It'd be perfect. Who knows? I kind of deny it. I don't mind. I think it would be probably worse. I don't know if I was president. We'd have a real problem. We'd be listening to music all the time. But you got to look at that. So here we are fighting over oil, which is everywhere, and all we need is here. And we don't take over control. That's technology. That's the sun. What's he doing for health insurance? Nothing. I mean, it looks like now the Republicans have split from Trump and are trying to make a deal with the Democrats, which is about time that Congress does something to try to pass something. But every day that it goes, there's no health insurance for these people because they can't afford it. We have that problem. Where's the issue with the food, with the hunger and food stamps? I'll tell you this, though. I give him credit on this. Clock's right twice a day, Joe. A broken clock's right twice a day, right? He's trying to shake up housing.
Housing, yeah.
I give him credit. You know how I feel about housing. And the one thing he's talking about, which is way too late, it appears, and he should have done it years in his first term, and you know I've been screaming about this for how many years, Joe, was to stop the corporations from buying homes so that people couldn't own a home. These companies go in, they had all this money, Blackstone, all of them. They would go in, they would know the best zip codes, where the money was, and they would buy those homes and control those homes. They buy them from the builders, and then people couldn't buy a house, and it gets worse and worse and worse. That's the Trump administration. I'll tell you this, though. It's going to shake up that whole housing. Because if you're a builder, it changes the whole way you're going to decide on what you're going to do. If you can't have corporations buy you because you've had buy your product because you've had so much going on. I just thought I'd throw that in. So I got to give Trump a little bit of credit there. Though this purchasing of mortgage bonds, I'm not sure about. We could talk all about that on Wednesday when people aren't, we talk about the esoteric stuff that people don't want to hear about that much, but we have a good time talking about. So I'm giving Trump credit there, but we're just going back. Devolution. Are we not men? We are Devo. We are Devo. Okay? America, where are you now? Don't you care about your sons and daughters? Don't you know we need you now? We can't fight alone against the monster. Joe, that's where I'm coming from, baby. And there ain't no question because we are not Oceania. We are America. We should care about each other. We should be going forward. Why is it, Cecilia? Why is it a bad idea? I'm happy Cecilian jumped in about stopping them from buying. If the corporations can control where the best houses are and be able to buy them, so you can't afford because you can't compete. They'll buy 20 of them from a builder. You can't buy 20. You can't compete, and then they can make you rent from them. It's horrible. It's horrible. Where are you going to build them all the time? Somebody says you can do it for $75,000. It depends on where you can go, what the zoning is, what the requirements is. I love this. People are jumping all over this, Joe. This is Democrats who has to pay for all this trash. Okay. I'm sorry. I thought we were going to housing, and it's kind of stopped. So we'll go from there, but we can get into housing later. But that's where we are. But I got to give him credit for that. He's trying to shake it up. This thing about telling credit card companies they no more than 10% interest, that ain't going to work. You can't make them do it. It ain't going to work, and they won't give a loan. And then if they cut the interest, they'll get the money from a fee. They'll get the money from this. They'll get the money from that. What are you doing? Banks are smart. They know how to make their money. Come on. I give him credit for trying to shake up housing, but he's throwing a lot of junk out there to people. It's just not going to help. And it just makes it almost worse because people think it can really work and it won't. So that's where we are, Joe, with that. 30 grand. This dude needs to live. Here we are. Here is socialist count. Doesn't want anyone to own a house. Bruno, I'm the one talking about people. I want people to own a house, Bruno. That's the whole idea of this. That's why I said I kind of agree with Trump on this because it can help open up some inventory. But the thing is, there's plenty of inventory now, Joe. I've been talking about this for how long? Plenty of housing inventory. plenty of housing inventory. The problem are the interest rates. And how are you going to get the interest rates down? And he thinks that by putting in a Federal Reserve chairman who's going to keep banging on short-term interest rates, it's going to work. But you got short-term, you got medium and long-term, you got the 10-year, and I don't know how short-term controls the 10-year. They're going to have to find a whole bunch of ways. We lived through all that in the 70s, and it wasn't good, and it didn't work. It didn't work. Nace Mills, my mind is wide open. I'm the one talking about solar energy. You guys don't see it. I'm talking about where we're going, going forward, how America can protect itself. You think if the Chinese can control solar energy and be able to take that power and put it in batteries that we can't do, that we'll have a chance against them? We wouldn't. It doesn't make sense. Get the illegals out, have more homes. Who are you kidding? It's hard for them to buy a home. They can't use banking. They got to pay into the taxes, and they're all hiding right now. And you're going to suddenly go in and buy an immigrant's home? Immigrants, I love the word. It's just like it's mean. Like these people on the right, Joe, on the mosh pit, my mosh pit's on the right. It's like they all must have been born here. Their great parents, grandparents must have all been born here. They must all be Native Americans. To me, everybody's an American, but if you're a Native American, you're native to America, they must be all of them, right? All of you guys in there who want to get rid of these immigrants. None of your family was an immigrant. Never happened. Joe, didn't happen with you, did it? Didn't happen. You were born here. You're an Eskimo, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. No,
you're an Eskimo.
My grandparents weren't born in Italy.
Yeah, well, mine weren't born here either.
The American part of Italy, I guess.
Yeah, the American part. Hey, mine's the American part of Lithuania and Latvia. The Russian area there, had the American part there, and soon we'll be hearing they're going to say, "Well, we're going to strip you of your citizenship because hey, you don't belong here." You know, maybe our parents, Joe, had us illegally here. You know, you never know. Wait till they check it out on whatever ancestry.com. Yeah, that's going to work. But that's where we are with this, guys. You can't make Andre. I like this. Going back to housing. Loan rates should be locked at 2% loan rates. You can't lock a rate. As soon as you start doing that, it's just going to destroy the economy because nobody's going to want to put that money out. Are you going to want to buy a bond? Your 401k or your pension fund or your employer's 401k going to want to buy a bond that's only 2% for 30 years into perpetuity? It isn't going to work. It can't work that way. Came over on a boat, right on. Didn't get any money from the government. Okay, I'm not talking about getting money from the government. We're talking about just trying to throw out people without Tom Homan giving us numbers, telling us what's going on, who exactly is getting thrown out, how many American kids are getting thrown out with them, and why they're shooting Americans. Joe, I'm reaching the end. I'm coming back to this. Devo, are we not men? This is devolution. We're going backwards. I'm sorry, Devo. I don't mean to get on you. I love your music. I got all your albums.
Can I present a Devo of the week?
Go for it, baby.
Maybe we should make this a regular feature on Sundays.
Devo of the week?
What's the new Devo of the week? So the Devo of the week for me is the Trump's administration's policy on alcohol drinking. So there's a big study conducted. Scientists, data. The data is clear that any amount of alcohol drinking is bad for you. Okay. And we used to have guidelines every couple of years. The U.S. government would come out with guidelines, dietary guidelines. And what they said was that if you're a woman, you shouldn't have more than 1 drink a day. And if you're a man, you shouldn't have more than 2 drinks a day. And there's data that even that might be too much for some people. Well, Trump administration has gotten rid of that. So I heard Dr. Oz get in there and say, we're not going to tell you what the guidelines are.
Get drunk.
Get drunk. It's good for social interactions. It's a social lubricant.
Here we go.
And I have to say, that's going backwards. But as someone who treats people with addictions, I have to give them some props. Okay. When you replace guidelines with fluff, it's going to be good news for my waiting room. I'm going to have to buy an extra chair. So again, you can be right twice. A broken clock can be right twice a day. And
twice a day, right.
Here's a situation that works in my favor, but not in the favor of American people.
How about cardiologists? They said drink whole milk and cook with butter. Man, clog those
It's funny.
veins.
They took the food pyramid. They took the food pyramid and they turned it upside down.
Well, that's our Devo of the week, the upside down food
But
pyramid.
I do agree with protein is good. Too many carbs are bad. So the old food pyramid was probably wrong too. But you have to be smart about it. You just don't take the pyramid and turn it upside down and say, this is the new pyramid.
This is the new pyramid.
Things need to be backed up with facts.
Sure. And then wait till you want, I don't know. They just eat fat, do this. It's all good. And remember, RFK Jr. jumped into a polluted pond, a stream, and had a great time going underwater with his grandchildren watching. Okay. We will see you all Wednesday. It's been a great live stream. I've enjoyed it. Our mosh pit, you guys are okay. Spartacus, we love you. Guillermo, we love you. Well, Spartacus is our man. We do love Guillermo. Dr. Oz is crazy. And all of our others who come on, and all the rest of you. You called us names, too bad. Doesn't matter. We will see you Wednesday. We'll see you Wednesday at 5 Eastern time. Wednesday at 5 Eastern time. If you're square, we ain't going to be there. And Joe, that's the way it is.
Period.
We'll see you Wednesday. Thanks for